Again, sorry about that, guys. I keep losing storage. Anyway, to finish what I was saying, basically, I knew that I was starting to feel that I had made the wrong decision by moving to Florida and by being in that house. It wasn't right. It didn't settle right with me. And so I basically changed my mind. I had put the money down and went back home to North Carolina. I never even stayed one night in that house, right? But I felt the vibe of the way that I felt when I was in there. I felt what I felt when I was down there. I stayed with my mom or whatever. And anyway, it was less than 3 weeks that I had changed my mind. And I called the man and he already knew that I was recently widowed, and he already knew my situation as to, everything or whatever. But I told him what I was experiencing and what I was feeling, and that I wasn't going to be able to move into the house, and that I was sorry, that I couldn't do it. And mind you, I did give him $3,000. And, it's not like I had money all over, this is like, I was using this to move. Like, this is all I had. This was given to me by my congregation, and I did tell him that. And I told him, I said, I'm sorry. I know that I caused an inconvenience, and I was hoping, that, you could understand and possibly give me some, if not all of my money back, because I'm widowed and I need it to move somewhere else. I decided I'm going to move to Atlanta. And this was a private owner. This was not a big company, with like rules and regulations. Excuse me. Oh, these allergies are killing me. Anyway, this was a private owner. And so he knew my story. I talked to him for a pretty long time and everything. So, it was really up to him if he wanted to give him the money back or not. Mind you, I had not even stayed, not even one night in the house. Okay. Anyway, I remember pivoting and making a different decision based on the knowledge that I had once I proceeded in that direction. And while to others it may look like, oh my God, that girl's crazy. She just put $3,000 on a house or whatever, and now she's changing her mind and everything. And this girl is like, she doesn't know what she's doing. Or it may look like a bad decision or whatever, right? That man would not give me my money back. He absolutely said no, he was not going to do that. He just said no. I just lost out on the money. And I did tell him that, I tried to, reason with him a little bit, could I get any of it back, and I was being very truthful with my situation and honest and everything, and seeing as how I didn't even stay in the house or anything. Anyway, he absolutely became very cold and was like, absolutely, it's just not happening. Nope. He just said no. And I really couldn't understand that he couldn't have any empathy or sympathize with me. And also, by the way, my mother talked to him too, because this person, like I said, he was up the street, and like, it wasn't, he knew that my story or what was going on in my life was actually happening. This was actually true and everything. But he just decided to be cold and just say no. And literally, I had one bag. I remember I had like one garbage bag that I had put into the house, and I don't know I guess I went back to go get it or something. But this all happened within 3 weeks. But what I remember is literally it was like the for rent sign went right back up, and it was like business as usual or whatever for him. It was like nothing. And so I told him, I said, you're taking the last little bit that I have, and you're also taking it from my family, and you're taking it from a widow, and you know that that's wrong. Like, you say you claim you're a Christian, but what you're doing is, it's wrong. I didn't even stay in the house. And he gave me a very cold attitude. And I said to him, after a couple of attempts and everything, I said to him, I said, what you're doing is wrong. And Jehovah God doesn't like and doesn't take kindly to those who are not giving fair, especially to widows. And I said that to him. I remember telling him, because he was because we had talked so much, I knew he was a Christian. And it was very clear to me that he was like very happy to just take my money and then put it right back up for rent. And I told him, I said, I'm going to tell you right now, that money came from my congregation. That actually wasn't even really my money. It came from God to be used for a purpose. And I could understand if I tried to rip you off, if I stayed in the house at all or anything like that. But that money that you're keeping, that's going to become dirty money to you now. Because what you're doing is, it's wrong. It's actually wrong. And I said, in that house, your house that you're trying to rent or whatever, it won't be rented. You're going to see. You're going to see. Because the way you're acting is you're cursing yourself. It's very bad energy that you're putting out. There's bad energy in the house. And I don't know why or what's going on or whatever. But I can tell you right now, based on the attitude and what you're showing me and what you're doing, you will not be blessed. That money that you had, you will not be blessed. And when I tell you, that house remained empty for a long time. Because I let him have it. And I told him, because he knew he was taking from a widow, and it was money that literally was given by my congregation. Like, you know, and I wasn't worried about it because I knew that I was actually doing the right thing for me. Because I couldn't live. I just couldn't, I knew I wasn't going to be able to progress in that state that I was in. And being so close and so new in the grieving process. And that is when I pivoted and moved back here to Atlanta, and God made a way. He provided for me still, right? But I never forgot that. And God saw that. He saw that. He saw his heart, the code. Yeah, he had the right. Okay. But he also had the right, or he could have said, you know what, let me be fair and give you half back. Or, you know, you didn't even stay the month or the last month. Let me at least give you that back. Or at least the security deposit back, because clearly I would have gotten that back at the end of the lease anyway. Or something. He offered me nothing. Nothing. And I told him he all but cursed himself with that house. That he was not going to get and profit from it, because you should not profit from widows. You should not profit from those less fortunate than you. I mean, that is a universal law. God doesn't like ugly. And so anyway, for a fact, I know that house stayed for a long, long, long time. I really think, I know it was past a year, and I don't know whatever happened or anything. I didn't go back or anything, but the fact is that I knew that he wasn't gonna, I knew that his path wasn't in with that house, or whatever he was trying to do or accomplish wasn't going to go well, just based on that type of business, whatever, just based on that, right? So people, you know, need to think twice about the energy that you put out, you know. Sometimes, though, when we pivot and we have to make a decision, to other people, it may look like one thing, or it may look like a bad decision, or they may not like it. And so they may try to make you pay for that decision by, you know, keeping money, or, you know, just whatever, because they don't agree with it, because it doesn't serve them, because your decision that you're making that you essentially know is really best for you, it doesn't serve them. And people don't like that. People don't like that. Okay. And so it is a mark of a true friend and of real love when somebody can look at somebody who is making a decision that may go against what you want in your heart. But a person can look at you and say, you know, I still want what's best for you. I want you to do well. I want to see you